there. It's 6:30. You're live here on GHOne TV. You're welcome to News Tonight. I'm Natalie. For a look at our top stories. Coming up this evening, small-scale miners divided over promises by MPP flag bearer Dr. Mahmoudou Bawumia to make them millionaires through the establishment of a minerals development bank.
Responsible mining. We are going to do responsible mining. I'm going to make you millionaires.
Also coming up, flag bearer of the Liberal Party of Ghana, Kofi Akpaloo, demands removal of the picture of deceased flag bearer of the Ghana Freedom Party, Ekua Donko, from the ballot paper.
We are aware that she's not alive. So how are they going to do the counting at the end of the day?
Also ahead tonight, we shall tell you the story of a young man who has defied his disability to become the first in his family to acquire tertiary education.
There's time for everything. So if he's going through difficulties, doesn't mean that life is unfair with him or her. No matter when there will be a help from God or any human being.
And ahead in business, government signs agreement with Health Services Workers Union to deal with concerns of poor working conditions of members. We bring you the details of the stories and much more news right here on News Tonight. Do stay. Well, let's get started with News Tonight now. We begin with Insight. Here, we've got some election-related stories for you on Insight. Now, if you are a small-scale miner who has not been able to break even or make profit, I have good news for you, because MPP flag bearer Dr. Mahmoudou Bawumia says under his administration, you will become a millionaire. Now, the Vice President, who is currently on tour in the Ashanti region, first made this promise while addressing residents in Etrima, Imponia. According to him, a new licensing regime that will involve local traditional rulers, as well as a community mining scheme and the establishment of a specialized bank to support miners with equipment for sustainable operations, among others, will ultimately lead to the miners becoming millionaires. He further assured stakeholders that these measures, when fully implemented, would ensure long-term development and sustainable wealth for the miners in various communities.
Licenses, community mining schemes, areas above we are use negotiate community mining and small scale miners in West and East. Geological Survey Authority abekire baby a gold no community mining schemes no amamo me be shisha bank minerals development bank mamo loans na equipment proper mining we are responsible mining. We are going to do responsible mining. I'm going to make you millionaires.
While Dr. Bawumia is assuring of making millionaires out of the miners, the National Democratic Congress is also assuring that the next John Dramani Mahama-led administration's new Youth in Mining initiative will create sustainable and youth-inclusive practices in the small-scale mining sector, with a focus on environmental protection, regulatory efficiency, and economic growth. Director of Elections and IT for the NDC, Dr. Edward Omane-Boama, has been addressing voters in the Mbuedua in the Equator constituency as part of his 5-day campaign tour of the Eastern region.
John Dramani Mahama, I'll say mining equipment pool for small scale mining because the scale no is small. It's ultimate to talk equipment also or the responsible mining no and don't know pooling a pool away as the farmer services center no the area say equipment no okiani okota say oh ebia me wafuo ekase etiyemra yemedoma ye ni akwakodo enu so ntino sa pool no so ebe mining equipment pool in each small scale mining district. The small scale mining district bia sa pool no ebe
Well, let's delve deeper into this. Michael Pepra is president of the Concerned Small Scale Miners Association. He joins via phone now. Good evening to you, Michael. Thank you for joining us here on News Tonight. Let's get started with Dr. Bawumia's promise. And he's promising to make millionaires out of small scale miners if given the nod. But you describe this promise as a joke. Why is that the case?
As the president. Hello? Can you hear me?
Hearing you, do carry on.
Yes, well, first of all, as the president for the Concerned Small Scale Miners, we take a statement as a joke in the sense that when Bawumia's party was in power, they promised us they were going to empower small-scale miners and, as a matter of fact, help us improve our sector. But when they came, they brought us from millionaires to beggars, in the sense that they brought about the burning of excavators and the seizure of excavators as well. They as well took concessions that belongs to legitimate small-scale miners to their party folks, and this brought about an untold hardship to our members. Yesterday, we were in Obuasi. The association had a mining conference. Because he knows he does not have enough goodwill to come and pay small-scale miners, he rather went to the market to promise small-scale miners revenue. But what he said, that he's going to make small-scale miners a millionaire as a small-scale miner, we take his statement as a joke, and we will not go to his promises because they have been in power. He's been the vice president, and he's not brought about any new strategies to empower the sector.
Now, just to explain further, he says, that's the flag bearer of the MPP, that you're looking to support with equipment as well. Would you not consider this aspect a rather laudable one, considering the huge investments that you and your members have to make in machinery?
When they came, we had our excavator like 2011 to 2016. A lot of our members had been able to work safely to acquire machines for themselves. When we voted for them in 2016, after 2016, they brought about this burning and seizure of excavators. So if you've been able to destroy our sector by seizing our excavators and giving it out to people who are party folks or politicians, and they also went about burning excavators of legitimate small-scale miners. He was the vice president then. He never told government to stop that kind of action. He was in support of it. And now that you want small-scale miners for you, you are promising us that when we vote for you, you procure excavators so that you give it to us. What happens to those machines that government? Has it been able to bring these machines back? No. So we see this campaign message as a knee-jerk reaction because he does not have enough to. And I would say it again. We had a conference, we invited him to come, he never came. He rather went to the market and he was promising market women, he was promising market women that when he comes, he's going to help small scale miners. So we see him to be a corny politician, and as a matter of fact, whatever he says, he sees as bad.
Now so you say it's not feasible, it's merely a campaign promise. Let's juxtapose it against the NDC's promise. The NDC, on the other hand, is proposing the Youth in Mining Initiative. What do you make of this policy proposal?
Yesterday, when we had our mining conference, I think the FDC made Dr. Tony Obin, former Minerals Commission CEO, to come and meet small-scale miners. After we sent an invitation to both parties, the NDP never showed up. It was the NDC that came and they were explaining their manifestos to the small-scale miners across this country. And as a matter of fact, we can attest to the fact that when NDC was in power, our sector was thriving. And as a matter of fact, that is when a lot of small-scale miners were empowered. But when they came, we can attest to the fact that the sector has collapsed and a lot of people are wallowing in debt. So we see the NDC manifesto as a better option than that of the NDP.
Michael Pepper, thank you for joining us this evening. President of the Concerned Small Scale Miners Association. Now, joining via Zoom now is Philip Bauer. He's a member of the Responsible Miners Association. Also joining for a conversation on this. Good evening to you. Thank you for joining here on News Tonight. Now, your colleagues say that the promise by the MPP flag bearer, as you just heard, is a joke. It's not feasible. It's merely a campaign promise. Do you agree with this?
Good evening, and good evening to your listeners, cherished listeners. And good evening to my friend and brother, Kojo Pepra. No, I don't agree with him. I have read the two manifestos. By the way, I'm the president of the Responsible Small Scale Miners Association, Ghana. Now, the intention expressed by the flag bearer, you cannot say it is a joke because he has never been a president. He is assisting somebody who is a president and he wants to be president and is making a case to become a president.
But his party has been in power.
Yes, that of course. You see, there's always something to be done. It is the reason why the former president is seeking to come back. He's been president. He's been president through his party and he was president until he was booted out of power with the largest margin, including miners voting against him. There was something wrong. So there's always something new to be done. And the intention has to be expressed to convince somebody to give the mandate to implement that intention. Until that is done, you cannot describe it as a joke. So, for instance, the major problem facing small-scale miners in this country is funding, financial and equipment. So if he says that he's going to implement a policy by creating small-scale mining development bank through which small-scale miners will be able to source funds to mine and mine responsibly so that we don't rely on the Chinese who will come and take everything away from us, destroy our land and go away. You cannot describe that policy as a joke. Even if you don't agree with him, if you don't want him to come to power, as we know, his policy certainly is not a joke. It's a feasible policy. The reason why it is feasible is that engaging with the small-scale miners, creating a system that would provide them with a mineable land is not try and error, but the Geological Survey Department would prospect on the land, allocate it for small-scale miners to mine without incurring unnecessary losses. This cannot be a joke. This is a novelty actually, and every small-scale miner in this country appreciate this fact that somebody has recognized the try and error that is creating losses for them since time immemorial. To the current.
Right. Now, Philip, it appears we are losing you, but I'm just going to ask this, if you can still hear me. Now, you say that it should not be described as a joke, that it is in fact feasible and it's possible to be done. But let's compare this with the NDC's proposal as well. And what the NDC is proposing is youth in mining and ensuring that it's done sustainably. How do you compare the two, and how would you assess the NDC's as against the MPP's proposal?
No, as a matter of fact, you see, we are small-scale miners. And the small-scale miners in this country, they are the people the political parties rely on to get information to put out their policies. So if you look at what they say, they are basically almost the same.
You think these two proposals are the same?
Dr. Bawumia says that he's going to establish small-scale mining development bank.
Right.
NDC say that they would propose a revolving fund to aid small-scale miners in acquiring equipment. These are same things, saying that I'm going to get you money to proceed with your businesses so that you don't incur unnecessary losses. The difference is that the NDC manifesto is not telling us how they are going to get the land for us, the small-scale miners, to work without incurring losses, as has been the case. The fact is this, that the Chinese people have invaded the system because they have the financial muscle. So most of the small-scale miners are following the Chinese people, leading them to acquire the land, and then they get a token for it.
So briefly, would you say that both
take all the money away?
Both of the
NPP manifesto is distinct in that direction, that they are going to get the geological survey department to prospect on the land, know that the values here are good for you to mine. When you go there, you can project a mine. You don't go to do batramakwe.
So between the two proposals, you're saying that you feel like the MPP proposal better addresses the issue of within the sector, yes?
So far as the land prospecting and allocation part is concerned, that is a distinct. The distinction you can make between the two policies. But for the revolving fund, from the revolving to establishing small-scale miners bank, it's the same financing the system without much sweat. That is okay. But the land, when you get the finances, you don't go and throw it away. You go and project and mine, be able to repay the loans you acquired. That aspect makes the two difference, because you can see that somebody is saying that when I get you the money, you'll be able to work and pay because I'll put you to the place where you can work to repay that money. But the other side is silent on that. So you can make the decision to say that there's a difference between the two from that score. I'll get you money, you go and work and pay the money back through the process where you will not incur losses. And the other one is saying that I'll get you the money to go and work, but you can go and do your business as usual and come back to cry. There is difference there.
Thank you for your time this evening. We'd have to round it up here. Philip Bauer joining us there, member of the Responsible Small-Scale Miners Association, on that issue. More on it subsequently. In other news tonight, the Liberal Party of Ghana is demanding the removal of the flag bearer of the Ghana Freedom Party, GHOne, from the ballot paper to avoid confusion on election day. According to the party, the cost of allowing the picture to remain on the ballot paper is worse than the amount of money to be spent on reprinting. Flag bearer of the LPG, Kofi Akpalu, who addressed a press conference on Wednesday afternoon, believes some voters will be tempted to vote for the deceased, GHOne, if her photograph is not removed from the ballot paper. He says his party will consider legal options if the EC fails to heed to their call.
And LPG as a party, we think this is not what we are expecting from the Electoral Commission to do. It's wrong for the EC to print a ballot paper with Mamia Kwadonko picture on it. It's going to create a whole lot of confusion in the country. People are going to vote for Mamia Kwadonko, who is also, we are all aware that she is not alive. So how are they going to do the counting at the end of the day? Because the presidential ballot we do the calculation based on the percentages garnered by each candidate. Now, are we going to say that those who are going to vote for Mame Kwadonko, their own are going to be taken off from the ballot, or they're still going to be counted? We don't want confusion at the end of the day. We don't want a situation whereby a losing candidate will just stand up and say he's not going to accept the results because of the percentages. So in view of this, we are asking the Electoral Commission to reprint a new ballot papers without Mame Kwadonko's picture on it. You see, if the candidate had qualified, Mame Kwadonko nominee, if he had qualified, definitely we're going to print new ballot papers. We're not going to say that it's going to cost us money. So now that his party did not qualify, then we have to take their party from the ballot. That's all that we're asking the EC to do. We should forget about the monies involved. Let's do the right thing that will create a peaceful atmosphere in this.
Well, let's now engage our governance expert, Dr. Frederick Oduro, on this matter. Good evening to you. Thank you for joining us here on News Tonight. Now, you've heard this call being made by the LPG flag bearer. What are your thoughts on this demand? Is it feasible, and is there validity to this?
Please come again. There are some interruptions in between your end and mine.
Not a problem.
Can you repeat
right.
the
So
question,
I'm asking what your thoughts are on this demand being made by the flag bearer of the LPG, and if it's valid.
I believe the EC should have worked at removing the picture of the late Kwadonko from the ballot paper.
Right.
I mean, I do accept the fact that there's a need to maintain her position on the ballot paper, in that people have used their positions to campaign and educate the electorate about where they can be found on the ballot sheet. So if her name had been removed completely, I don't think that would have been fair to the candidates who are below her. However, I am confused as to why her name should appear on the ballot paper. Various reasons have been given, one being the fact that they have started printing the ballot paper. Even if they have started printing the ballot paper, once she's passed away, her name shouldn't appear. I think it's even traumatic for her family members and her friends to go to the poll and find her name there. Secondly, people might misconstrue the fact that she's not even contesting and vote for her, which should not be good for us. So I think at all costs, the EC should have removed her name and her picture from the ballot paper, but could have left the place blank.
So you are suggesting that the EC removed her name, her photograph, but left it blank in order for the numbers that the other political parties have, which of course has been used to campaign and so on, these numbers remain the same, the placement on the ballot paper. How about the implications financially that this is likely to have within this period? Do you think that that's not a cause for concern?
Please come again. I'm sorry.
I'm asking the cost that will be attached to this process of taking. Yes, should that not be considered? Is that not justifiable enough for the EC not to?
The cost is a factor, but that is the cost of democracy. I believe if we are practicing democracy, how much was it going to cost? The EC, if they wanted to make a cost a major factor in this, they should give us how much it costs to print the ballot papers, and that if they choose not to reprint what they had done, how much it was going to cost us. For me, that is more important than If the EC wants to carry us along with them, that it's so expensive, this is how much it's going to cost. So we think we must look at maintaining a place on the ballot sheet rather than, leaving it blank in a new sheet we're going to print. But to say it's going to be expensive, how expensive? They've not told us about that. So they can't tell us, it will be expensive, and we just take it like that. They should be able to tell us that this is how much it's going to cost. So we think we are making such significant savings. Otherwise, I am not still impressed that you've chosen to put her picture and the symbol of her party on the ballot paper. But I'm all for maintaining her position without her picture or her party symbol on the ballot paper.
Thank you so much for your time this evening. Dr. Frederick Oduro joining us there, a governance expert on that development. Now, flag bearer of the All People's Congress, APC, that's Hassan Ayariga, is asserting that the 24-hour economy is his original idea now being imitated by the NDC. During a meeting with the Abosokan Spare Parts Dealers Association, he pledged that if elected, his approach would be comprehensive, addressing unemployment as well as fostering a vibrant economy that operates beyond traditional working hours.
All these mineral resources, we send it out. Let's add value. So production, manufacturing, industrialization, Ghana will now become a very, very vibrant economy. And that brings me to my policy that the NDC has adopted, a 24-hour economy. So the 24-hour economy you have been talking about is not from the NDC. It's my policy. It is in my 2016 manifesto and my 2020 manifesto. And the purpose of the 24-hour economy is to lock down Ghana, make Ghana a production, manufacturing, industrial hub, to turn Ghana to work 24 hours round the clock to achieve the production, manufacturing, industrial revolution. Because the labor force we have as a country today cannot effectively run the 24-hour economy. Because 24-hour economy means that 8 hours production in the morning, 8 hours manufacturing in the afternoon, 8 hours industrialization in the evening. And you will need more labor force to be able to do that. We sleep 8 hours, we work 8 hours a day and sleep 16 hours. How can a country that sleeps more than 8 works become economically productive and independent? So you cannot be independent economically unless you work more than you sleep.
Now, female journalists are being urged to let their presence as well as their impact be felt during the upcoming elections in December. According to the Dean of the School of Communication Studies, Professor Audrey Gajapo, the now assented to affirmative action law gives women the opportunities, hence the need for female journalists to use this period to build capacity in order to benefit from it. She was speaking at a 2-day training session for female journalists on safe election reporting in Accra.
The Alliance for Women in Media Africa, in partnership with UNESCO, put together the 2-day training to enhance the safety of journalists, especially during the December 7th elections. The training, themed Empowering Women in Media for Safe Election Reporting, is aimed at empowering women journalists to take an active role in shaping Ghana's democratic future through their reporting on the 2024 general elections. It seeks to equip female journalists and media practitioners with the practical knowledge, skills, and confidence to participate effectively in the electoral process. Speaking during the opening of the training, the representative of UNESCO in Ghana, Edmond Mukala, called on the government, political parties, and the general public to ensure the rights of female journalists are protected.
The government should ensure that laws and rights designed to protect women journalists offline are applied online. And also, political actors should resist from attacks against women journalists. Women journalists should not be blamed for the online violence they experience, nor should they be expected to bear the responsibility for the managing or combating the problem.
Dean of School of Communications at the University of Ghana, Legon, Professor Audrey Gajapo, on her part, advised female journalists to build their capacity for the real world.
The help cometh from the affirmative action bill. Okay? So as we prepare for these elections and we try as much as possible in the next few weeks to give more women voice and visibility, we must know that the real work lies ahead after the elections.
Now, the governing MPP has shredded the opposition NDC's much-touted 24-hour economy policy, describing it as a hoax and fraudulent. The policy introduced by former President John Dramani Mahama is designed to create new employment opportunities, particularly for young people, and also help address the high unemployment rate in the country. Despite justifications by the NDC and its plans to run a 3-work shift system, it seems that the governing MPP is not quite satisfied with the explanation. According to the Director of Communications of the party, Richard Kwame Ahiagba, the policy is fraudulent and a vote-buying one. He addressed the media a while ago.
The economy doesn't perform under the NDC quite simply because they don't have the balance of ideas to be able to make it grow. But here is what they're saying, that they said they would anchor their fiscal policy on a 24-hour economy, and that for me is a problem to begin with. It has been how many years now the NDC has not been able to tell us in plain language what they mean by 24-hour economy. They have not been able to do that. They haven't. They'll tell you all manner of things, including importing all sorts of things and building airports. And the truth is that to build whatever, assuming the incoherent explanation so far is taken for granted as their answer, to build the things they say they are building requires a performing economy. So what about you tell us about how you improve the economy, then we can get to talking about giving us a 24-hour economy. I'll show you how perverse this whole idea is and how fraudulent it is, and that the NDC just hopes that we'll just carry on with 24-hour economy. It sounds good, it sounds appealing, and people cannot imagine it. They think it's something great, and so when we go to the polls, somehow they would get votes from that. But I think that it will be to our collective loss if we make a mistake in voting for a party without knowing what they stand for, without knowing their promise to transform the economy, without knowing what they intend to do for the economy. And that's why this conversation is important, for you to carry on and ensure that your viewers understand or demand from the NDC in plain language what is your 24-hour economy. Quite simple.
Well, as your election hub with just 25 days to the 2024 general election, will certainly bring you lots more election-related stories in the days ahead. That wraps up Insight. In other news this evening, Elliot Dakora, a 29-year-old resident of Akweteman in Accra, has shown remarkable resilience and an unbreakable spirit by managing to avoid high rent cost, living in a wooden shack and working as a security guard to achieve his dreams. The sixth of 7 siblings has emerged as the first person in his family to graduate from a tertiary institution, defying all odds. He completed his diploma at the University of Education, Winneba, later pursued a degree at the University of Ghana. GHOne News' Christabel Po has more in this report.
In a quiet part of Accra, Elliot's path through higher education has been anything but easy. He moved to Accra hoping for better opportunities.
I came to Accra through my sister called Pascal in Accra. So the one that called me that I should come when I completed senior high school. She asked me that am I working, and I said no. He said okay, you'll find a work for me. They asked me to go and be at their kitchen. We sleeping there, so they give me a mattress. So I was sleeping at the kitchen there, and upon that time, my sister's husband started to develop a negative attitude towards me.
At one point, he found support from a friend who encouraged him to continue in his studies.
I'm happy to go to school, but I don't have any helper to support me financially. He said, okay, he will talk to his friend called Simon. So Simon was the one that he connected, and I sent my results to him, and he went, he bought the voucher pin and everything and filled the form, and it was through a course, a weekday course. I was supported one of my pastor called Reverend Dr. John Asante. He was the one that paid the initial payment of my tuition fee to me when I started the school.
Elliot faced additional hardship when robbers attacked his wife while he was away studying. Despite this, his pastor's encouragement kept him going.
To a time in his life and he said, "Oh, Daddy, I want to better my life. And myself, I don't joke with education." So when he said, I just got it and I said, "No, my guy, go with it."
Elliot's journey is marked by perseverance. Despite the challenges, he has completed his tertiary education and inspired his family to pursue their own academic goals.
I don't work and I am always home, but with resilience and dedication, he managed to push through. One day, he called and shared the news that he had completed school, but he would want to continue further. I encouraged him to aim for gold and keep going.
His landlord, Brian Bois, expressed admiration for Elliot's determination and success despite his humble background.
I really admire him a lot. He manages both work and school simultaneously, which makes me admire him even more. He's striving to make ends meet, and I would be delighted if young people looked up to him.
As a young guy, I was out meeting it's like a youth.
Elliot encourages others in similar situations to never give up, believing that a difficult background should not limit one's future.
There's time for everything. So if it's going through difficulties, doesn't mean that life is unfair with him or her. No matter one day when there will be a help from God or any human being. So it's just continue to focus on what he or she is doing. A day will come that God will help a way for.
Well, Elliot's story is certainly very inspiring. Stay with us here on News Tonight. We've got lots more news shortly.
GHOne OV van has been one of the best vans I've used personally in this country. It runs a system where we are able to run on Dante to be able to do our broadcast mixed well also from this van.
I've used this OB van for quite a number of big productions, i.e. 3 music awards, the late President Rollis' state funeral, Miss Africa awards, and a number of them.
My experience with the GHOne van has been the state of the art equipment they have. Personal experience is you can use it for both indoor and outdoor, all events, conferencing, like anything you need a van to work for you, GHOne provides it.
My experience with the van has been very good. Why? Because it has a number of facilities that I may not get in other vans. You know, the van has a very wide bench that can accommodate all my technical crew. ICCU, switcher, graphics, CG, and all of that. And then it also has a studio, a green room studio that comes with TriCaster. So if you want somebody to do commentary on a live event, you can put that presenter who's in that studio as well and get that running.
To give an experience to our audience who are also watching on TVs and online. Work with an Exo technology system which makes your video mixing with Panasonic cameras, like a lot of other stuff in terms of content you need to get also for your live broadcasts.
I prefer the GHOne van to a lot of other vans I've used, or even doing my own setup on a tabletop setup, because on a production you see a number of people in the van, and so if you have a very small van, it means that it's going to be choked, and that will affect the creativity as well. The price has been discounted as well to accommodate varied budgets, and so no matter the budget you have, I understand you can have the truck and do business with it.
It looks huge, but very affordable. Cost is really, really affordable. My experience with it, EMI Awards last year, super excellent. Try it, call them, and I'm going to give you the best of price. Really affordable.
Welcome back to News Tonight here on GHOne TV. Let's take some more news this evening in the business sector. Business news this evening. The government of Ghana has signed agreements with the Health Services Workers Union and the Public Services Workers Union to enhance the working conditions of health and internal audit professionals. The move is part of efforts aimed at improving worker welfare in the health sector and promoting accountability in public fund management.
The landmark agreement signed on November 11, 2024 was led by the Chief Executive Officer of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, Engineer Benjamin Arthur. According to him, Health service workers play a significant role in the country's development, hence their efforts must be appreciated at all times. The agreement, he stated, is a testament to a commitment to supporting their work and ensuring better conditions for all. Deputy Director for Human Resources at the Ministry of Health, GHOne Abakayamwa, reassured health service workers of the ministry's continued support. For his part, the Health Services Workers Union General Secretary, Franklin Owusu-Ansah, noted that though everything they sought were not achieved, he believes the agreement prioritizes the health sector's progress and ultimately the welfare of Ghanaians. He urged the government to ensure that future negotiations are expedited to promote industrial harmony. On Thursday, November 7, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission kicked against the Health Services Workers Union's notice of strike, urging them to withdraw it and issue an apology. The action, according to the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission Chief Executive, reflected bad faith and a betrayal of government's trust, insisting that negotiations with the Health Services Workers Union have not faced delays.
So all of us agreed that now that there has been an approval, let's begin to engage based on the proposal that you brought. So we signed the rules of engagement. The rules of engagement is what formally engages the two, that from today we have agreed to commence negotiations. So negotiation actually starts from when we have signed rules of engagement.
This agreement marks a significant step towards enhancing labor relations in Ghana's health sector, ensuring that workers are supported in their critical roles.
In other business news, the Ghana Statistical Service has launched a groundbreaking accommodation units survey. This comprehensive one-year survey, commencing on November 15, 2025, aims to gather critical data on accommodations within the hospitality industry, informing policy decisions that will shape the sector's future. Calvin Powell reports.
In 2022, Ghana's hotels and restaurants contributed approximately 3.9 billion Ghanaian cedis to the gross domestic product. Industry stakeholders believe this figure could be higher if a harmonized data system were in place. To bridge this gap, the GSS is conducting an extensive nationwide data collection exercise.
We've already done 3 of them, being the Ghana International Traveler Survey, the Domestic Outbound Traveler Survey, and this is the 3rd of them, which is the Accommodation Unit Survey. And we are conducting this survey because we know anecdotally that tourists spend at least between 40 to 60% of their expenditure is covered by accommodation. So we do believe that the accommodation subsector contributes greatly to the promising prospects of tourism.
Dr. Edward Ernest Akanyameke Jr., President of the Ghana Hoteliers Association, urges members to fully cooperate with the exercise, emphasizing the benefits of policy decisions informed by such surveys.
We are also aware that the data that is used in calculating the current contribution to the GDP is not exhaustive, it's not comprehensive. Tourism has several components, from the accommodation, the restaurants, the car rental, the tour operators, the tour guides, the travel operators, and all of them are involved in tourism. There is a need to capture all these data into one composite form so that we'll be able to tell without any.
Well, that's all the business news you've got for you this evening. Do stay with us. Sports news is up shortly. Tonight here on GHOne TV, Benjamin Yamwa is in studio with the latest in sports. Benjamin, what's the top story for this evening?
Well, thank you very much, Natalie. And in sport, the president of the South African Federation for Football, Danny Jordan, has been released on bail on $1,100 after being arraigned in court over allegations of fraud and embezzlement. $1,000, and he must provide a 72-hour notice before traveling abroad and cannot miss court proceedings due to international commitments. Now, the case stems from accusations made by former SAFA Vice President William Moka and other former executives, prompting an investigation by the Hawk South Africa's Directorate for Priority Crime Investigations. Between 2014 and 2018, Jordan is alleged to have used Federation resources for personal benefits, including hiring a private security company for his protection and engaging a public relations firm without board approval. The SAFA's offices were raided in an evidence gathering operation lasting 5 solid hours. And that's it for sports.
Interesting development there in sports, Benjamin. Thank you so much for the latest from the world of sports. And on that note, that's how we wrap up news tonight this evening. Thank you for making the time to watch this bulletin. More news on our website, starfm.com.gh. It was produced by Musa Lanza, directed by Benini. I'm Natalie Force. Have a wonderful evening.